Hello guys, welcome back to your favorite agricultural and agribusiness YouTube channel. On today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with us a kind of comparative video between oil palm and cocoa. And this is specifically made for people who wants to go into tree crop farming and they are finding it difficult to decide on whether to settle for cocoa farming or oil palm farming. So in this video, I'll be making this video to help them and to help them in their decision on which one to settle for. So it's going to be a comparison video and I'll be comparing the two crop on the basis of their gestation period, their cost of establishment, their agroecological zone, their yield per hectare, and the income that is actually derivable from them, the management practices and the cost of management and so many other issues surrounding this crop. So basically, these two crop are cash crop. They are they are export earners in Nigeria particularly. So and they are being grown for their cash commodities. So first and foremost, when we compare cocoa and oil palm together, so cocoa on its own is farmed for major one product, which is the cocoa bean, which is used in the production of chocolate and all other chocolate bar, Milo, and every other chocolate product like that. So, whereby oil palm, on the other hand, is another tree crop that is an industrial crop, though it has more end use product than the cocoa. Oil palm actually have about 17 to 23 derivable product from it. But the primary product you can derive from the oil palm is the palm oil, palm kernel cake, and the palm kernel shell. So that is that on both sides. Talking about the gestation period, if you want to go into cocoa farming, uh, the gestation period for cocoa is 2 years. You have to do the waiting of 2 years before you start seeing production or fruiting. So whereby oil palm, on the other hand, oil palm gestation period is a little bit longer than what you have from cocoa. The gestation period for oil palm farming is 3 years. So now for you to weigh your option, can you wait for 3 years? Can you not wait for 3 years? If you cannot wait for 3 years, then you can settle for cocoa. If you can wait for 3 years, you can consider oil palm. Talking about the cost of establishment, the cost of buying seedling of cocoa is a bit cheaper. But at the end of the day, you are going to be having more cocoa stand on an hectare because the spacing of cocoa is closer. You'll be having around 800 to 1,000, depending on the type of spacing you want to use. The spacing of cocoa is 3 by 3 meters. Some people use 2.5 by 2.5. So depending on the spacing you want to use, around 800, you have around 800 to 1,000 per hectare. So depending on the kind of spacing you want to use, you will end up having more cocoa stand on an hectare, which will make it more expensive for you to set up an hectare compared to an oil palm plantation. On an hectare, you only need 145 trees, and an oil palm sucker is just about 1,000 naira. So the cost of establishment, you need more hands to plant an hectare of cocoa farm. Thereby, you end up spending more money. But the thing is that another thing with the difference between these two wonderful crop is that with the agroecological zone, is not everywhere you can actually establish a cocoa farm or an oil palm plantation. The agroecological zone for cocoa, for example, is a bit smaller than that of the oil palm farming. You can only do cocoa farming in the rainforest area that have deep soil. So you cannot do it outside the rainforest area. But oil palm, preferably you do it in the rainforest area, but it will also survive in the derived savanna area. I have so many videos concerning that on this channel. So let's talk about yield now. Yield of cocoa per hectare is around 2 tons per hectare, within 1 to 2 tons per hectare. And one beautiful thing about cocoa farming is that you don't necessarily need money to set up a processing plantation, a processing plant before you make money from cocoa farming. So you can just start, harvest your pod, sun dry it, and sell to exporters. You make your money. A ton of cocoa bean now, as at this present moment, So a ton of cocoa bean is around 4 to 6 million naira for a ton, whereby you can only have about 3.5 tons of oil on an hectare of oil palm plantation. But not forgetting that that is not the only product. You still have palm kernel oil, about 0.5 to 1 ton, and also palm kernel cake. A ton of palm oil presently is around 1.2 million naira. So you calculate that, you do the calculation for yourself. So if you are somebody that doesn't have the plan or the economic power to establish a processing plant, I will advise you to go for cocoa farming, because for cocoa farming, you don't need to process before you can make money. You can sell your product raw and still smile to the bank. Whereas in oil palm farming, if you don't process to palm oil, palm kernel cake, palm kernel oil, you will not make money at the end of the day. That is just a simple fact. And one interesting fact with cocoa is that before you establish a cocoa farm, you must have established a shade crop on your farm, which also serve as a kind of a kind of a side income for you before the cocoa start fruiting. So that is the beauty of cocoa farming. But talking about the management of cocoa is a little bit taxi compared to that of oil palm. Yeah, a cocoa farm is not a farm you can abandon beyond 4 months. You have to be going there, check, and do some management practices. And cocoa have a little bit of more diseases, though they are manageable and they are precautionary steps you can take to avoid them going out of hand. But they have more incidence of disease and more incidence of pests when we compare it side by side with the oil palm. So another thing is that their the lifespan of cocoa is a little bit shorter, about 5 years shorter or 10 years shorter to that of oil palm. Oil palm have a longer lifespan the than the cocoa, for example. So these are the things you need to consider before you settle down for any one of these. But what I can tell you is that both are very, very lucrative. Aside the fact that oil palm have more end use product than the cocoa, but cocoa you can make your money in a raw form without going further to process. So that's just the major difference here. And I hope I've been able to do justice to this topic, and I hope you got value from this video. If you actually got value from this video, kindly give it a like, share with your friends, so that we can reach out to more audience. And in case you are watching for the first time, my name is Lawal Olushalawa. I'm a farmer by training, by practice, and by education. And this channel is dedicated to promote sustainable and profitable agriculture. So if you are watching for the first time, kindly click on the subscribe button to have access to more of my videos. Thank you for your time and see you on the next one. Sheshe.